Some of the most profound relationships I've ever had have been with people I've never met.
See what I'm saying? I think that's a generational thing. Because you couldn't imagine like your great-grandmother saying that because your great-grandmother never experienced an online relationship.
Yeah, because they didn't have computers.
That's what I'm saying. It's a generational thing. What's going on? Syntell with the Intel, and I'm here with the incredible Mikel-Claire.
Yes, incredible Syntell.
Yo, this is what I'm talking about. Special episode 2. Yo, if you haven't seen special episode 1, you can click the link in the description below and catch up to us. For those that have already been on board, we're about to get started. Go ahead and hit that subscription button if you haven't and give us those thumbs up. Let's go.
Syntell React.
Morning.
Yeah, I know.
Morning.
Nudity, adult language, adult content. I really enjoyed this
Ollie,
episode.
what am I supposed to do about
The season,
Jules?
you mean the...
This episode, the special episode.
Well, I know. I didn't know if you were going to show it. So I... Oh, again?
Thanks, HBO! Part 2.
Here we go. Oh my gosh. She's on a therapist couch, I could tell.
So where do you want to start?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, why'd you run away?
Oh.
What do you want to talk about?
I think I want to go off my hormones.
Oh, that's a pretty big choice.
I feel like a fraud.
I feel like there's a lot to unpack within what you just said.
There's a lot to unpack with that. No. I feel like I'm a fly on the wall and not a part of the conversation because I don't understand the
No
conversation.
God ever looked at me the way Rue did.
Sorry if I'm quiet. I'm just trying to process everything that's being said.
Kind of reminds me of how my mom would see you.
Ah.
I knew it was coming.
Oh, my balls from getting bigger, you know, the kind of shit that men wouldn't find desirable.
There's a chip that does that?
I have no idea. She said a chip thing, so it's probably like some sort of, you know how they have like the birth control that they could put in their arms?
Right,
It's probably that type of something
right.
that does
Okay.
with the hormones or something.
I've had a really hard 6 months.
And that is not melodramatic.
Like moving here, it's been really hard.
A whole lot has happened for you.
I freaked out, like I panicked, and I felt like if I didn't get out, I was gonna fucking die.
How?
Nate?
For real though.
Actually, it was somebody else starting her, but she was on the bike and Nate like ran her off the road.
No, she hurt herself at the party when she cut her arm.
Yeah, that was after he ran her off the road.
No, I'm saying, but she did that to herself.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. Maybe her mom was an addict, and so she kind of knows.
Been down this path before?
Yeah.
And Rue is like the mom substitute because of the whole she actually saw me kind of thing, and yeah.
Yep. Her mom, you know what I mean, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a different variation of, what is it, an Oedipus complex? Never seen it in these terms before, but...
Some of the most profound relationships I've ever had have been with people I've never met.
See what I'm saying? I think that's a generational thing. Because you couldn't imagine like your great-grandmother saying that because your great-grandmother never experienced an online relationship.
Yeah, because they didn't have computers.
That's what I'm saying. It's a generational thing.
Proud of you!
The music
There were
is...
so many times I wanted to go.
Yeah. The background music is tough.
It's a struggle.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's like when you read a book versus when you see a movie. And you can make up something more, like, better in your head than you can when you actually see it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. But this is coming from somebody who is maybe not living their absolute truth. Nate wasn't necessarily living his truth. So that's what I'm saying when she was like, it was the most, I was like, you didn't really know him. Or maybe she did. I mean, it's all left to interpretation based off the information that we've gotten.
Yeah, that part I think is more
Context and how it's said.
Yeah.
What the person looks like, facial expressions. There's so many other different pieces of context with that information than just words.
I get that too. I get that, but
Validated. I'm just saying that I don't think you're getting as much information. If you just see the words written, I love you, and then somebody tells you in a moment, at a particular time and place, in the way that they're saying it, that's a totally different amount of information than just the words written on a screen or on a slip of paper. But the irony of this is that she talks about all of the masks and the layers of this facade or this thing that she's building and not seeing the real her, but yet she's disappointed in the person that's pretty much doing the same thing, building a facade. So there's that apartment again.
Yeah.
Are they sharing the same delusion?
It's the same outfit and everything.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
When I got home, she was in the bathroom.
Doing drugs.
Real?
Or OD'd. Or OD'd.
Well, that was her.
Can you
That was a
please
part of
answer me?
Rue's dream. Well, her nightmare.
Rue, please.
But she didn't. But she came out in her.
Rue,
dream.
open the door.
And then she came out and she was in her reality.
Oh.
Remember?
Like,
Okay.
Well.
Hi, Jules.
Oh.
Huh.
Hey.
Oh.
This is her
pretty.
coming back from.
I don't know where
I
she.
should say hi. And
I think she just came back from school. See, she has the wings to go to the Halloween party.
wings. Yeah, that's recent.
Oh, so remember when she went to the Halloween party? We thought it was about the whole.
Yeah, the blackmail thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was even more added to
It
that.
was extra.
No wonder she got faded.
And jumped in the pool.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Jesus Christ. And you found bottles in the room?
Mm.
How long does the hospital want to keep her?
Oh, she's in the hospital.
Wow. That's a jacked
Okay,
up
well, that's all the
dream.
time we have for this week.
sorry
Ugh.
if that was a lot.
That's a lot.
I really missed you.
This is before though. She said I was riding on the bike on my way
Did
to
you
go
do?
meet Ali.
Well, this is Christmas Day. She met Ali on Christmas Eve. Yeah, the music was a distraction for me. I can't lie. It was tough because I kept connecting to the music and I didn't understand the music, and maybe it was a cultural disconnect. I just have to be honest. Me personally, I had a lot of disconnects on this one, so I felt more like a fly on the wall. And so a lot of times when I'm watching these things, I can insert myself into a lot of these different characters, and then gain like some perspective. But we're dealing with some things that I think I'm just culturally disconnected from, generationally disconnected from, just because I'm a dude. So I'm trying to approach this for the things that I'm seeing and kind of just take it from the aspect of like, just shut up and pay attention and maybe you'll learn something. So I'm more curious as to what you thought regarding this as a standalone episode into itself, and also when comparing this special episode to the first special episode.
I mean, I have a lot of the disconnect that you have in regard to a lot of the things that she was talking about. I'm trying to think. I mean, because I'm trying to think of, because as far as generationally, it's hard for me to remember what it was like when there are other women or girls in a room and them looking at you and trying to judge and assess where you are in this hierarchy. I know what it's like to wanted to be accepted, but I don't think it was, your nails, and I guess our generation, it wasn't that for me. But I did have the feeling of wanting to be accepted by my peer group, as do, I'm sure many people can relate to that, right? Especially at that age. The most fascinating thing I thought about this episode was finding out about her mom's addiction, and the fact that I feel, and I said this a little bit while we were watching, I feel that Rue is a substitution kind of like for Jules's mom in Jules's eye and life, and wanting to be accepted in that way, and how she wishes their relationship. I mean, you know what I mean? Closeness, unconditional. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Unconditional love can be you're with a family member or, you know, with a partner.
Right.
So I feel like she was longing for that unconditional love,
right.
and feels like she may have found that in Rue.
Right.
And Rue just happened to have the same addiction issues that her mom did.
Okay.
And then the fact that it was reversed for Rue, where Jules was like her drug and her addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how. So their relationship was built on that, and we weren't aware
right.
of that situation.
Yes.
Which I think was very poignant to come out as we move forward in their story.
Yeah. You bring up some really good points. Yeah, each one is facilitating a need that each one thinks that they need. You know, with, like you said, with the addiction, and then also with the mom and the unconditional love that isn't there. I'm glad that they brought in the fact of reminding us about the damage that she took as a child, being put into a facility,
Mental health facility.
right? I can't even imagine, you know. And then how do you process that when it's your mother that does that, and then you're trying to find that unconditional love, and from a child's standpoint, or even an adult standpoint, you know, you're being put into a situation that many might feel is unforgivable, and maybe that is why, on top of the fact that dealing with her mom's addiction is an unforgivable space for her mother. And then when she does finally accept the fact that, okay, well, let me just go ahead and just do what needs to be done and hear this apology that may or may not be fake or real, then she's not even there for that as well. I would imagine that maybe she has some type of guilt in feeling that her saying these things and realizing that her mother may have heard it and leaving may have been a reason for her to fall back out of her sobriety.
Trigger, catalyst.
Right, and then go back into the hospital on top of that. You know, it's one thing to just fall off the wagon. It's a completely different thing that you really hurt yourself on top of falling off of the wagon. But it really goes back to justify what you were saying, the actions and why she was acting so out of pocket and crazy at the Halloween party. That's just a lot to deal with. She's being blackmailed. She's fallen in love with somebody who's a substitute for a mother. Her real mother is already, like, you know, disappointed yet again. So yeah, I mean, and then you're just a teenage mind, and then you're dealing with, you know, I guess trying to figure out if you're going to stay on your hormones or not, and that's a really big life decision. So yeah, she's gonna be spiraling out of control at that particular moment at the party. I get that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the stuff that you talked about with the mom, the first thing that comes to my head is abandonment, right? So I'm sure that point where Rue decided all of a sudden that I'm not going to go with you on this train, even though it was my idea, and we packed your bags and we're here now. That right there is another moment of just severe, tragic abandonment for Jules.
Straight up abandonment.
So I'm sure, like, she's like, what is happening? You know, every woman in particular at this point in time is abandoning me. And so I feel like, I wonder, and I know, okay, how do I say this? I know that choosing your gender identity doesn't necessarily have to do with other circumstances. I do understand that.
Okay.
But I'm curious, because she's talking about going off of her hormones, how much, and how she's like trying to make herself so that she can be acceptable to men. I'm curious, like, if she was afraid to have a relationship with another woman and because of the abandonment from her mom.
Right.
And
See, that's part of the area where I'm like, I don't know. I'm just woefully ignorant in that space, right? And so I can only input how I feel coming from somebody who's heterosexual. So I'm trying to figure out like that angle of what you're talking about, but I'm just ill-equipped to understand it completely. So, but there was something that was really poignant that I thought that was kind of interesting, and that is that Jules said that she wanted to conquer femininity,
but it conquered her.
Okay, I thought that's just poignant. And then finding out that Rue was actually the first woman that she had ever kissed. So it's like, okay, I just think that that's fascinating. I don't understand like the reasoning and the depths, because I'm sure there's a lot of layering that goes behind all of that stuff that I just won't ever understand. But I can acknowledge the fact that those were poignant moments.
Yeah, and like I said, for me, I'm not trying to say that I understand either, because I don't know. I'm just based off of what I've seen and what they're saying and what they've shown me. Like, she wants to get off of the hormones and that kind of thing. Does she only think that Rue will accept her in that way? Is that her true self? Is that how she really feels now?
Right.
Does she feel like that she created this person for a different reason that maybe no longer is valid? I don't know, and I don't want to sound insensitive because I don't know.
Well, see, and then there's the thing, because this is a challenge. It's a challenge because you want to speak about the art, and what you think about are just human emotions that everybody shares, but context means everything. So there's another poignant moment where she tells her doctor that she's got millions of layers of what she thinks people want to see, which in a lot of ways, and at least how I interpret it, could be a facade. Could be. And maybe it is the truth, but just in this moment, I think she was implying that it could be a facade, right? And she's meeting somebody who is kind of like doing the same thing over text. And we do realize that Nate is not who he claims he is in the text messages. Maybe he is, though. Maybe that is Nate's truth. Maybe he really is Tyler, excuse me. Yeah. Tyler. Maybe that really is Tyler's real truth, and we just don't know his full truth. But to me, in that moment, I'm thinking the writing is saying that she wears these facades in order to project some type of comfort, and Tyler is kind of doing the same thing, but on the phone. So they're both like falling in love with each other's avatar.
And I'm sorry, it is Nate, but Tyler is who he was portraying himself to be. Like, okay.
Now, please correct me in the chat if I'm wrong in that, but that's just how I'm interpreting. Like, each one fell in love with the other person's avatar, whereas the relationship that she has with Rue is very real. She sees Rue at her core, past the drugs, past all that, and is in love with that person because she's substituting also for her mother, and Rue sees Jules for who she really is. It seems to me like that relationship is more pure. But she tells her psychiatrist that her relationship that she had on the text messaging, that she knew him more than any other person, right? So it's just, there's a person here that is the real relationship between these two, Rue and Jules. And then there's this facade of a relationship, but she really wants to believe that facade relationship is that she knows more about it.
But why would, okay, especially at that age though, why would you not want to believe in a relationship that you wish was a real relationship?
Okay.
Versus like something that's very difficult, still has some traumatic stuff going on in it. You're trying to figure it out, and it's complex, and you don't even know if this person really loves you, if you really love them. There's all this stuff tied up into it.
Right.
I would think that I would want to view the other relationship as more in depth and unconditional and all this stuff, because there's not so much complexity. It's just that face value. Right. And maybe that is the truth. I think that there's a lot that sounds valid. You know, I wouldn't argue against that. And then there's also like the other disconnect, which hasn't been as difficult to overcome, but maybe in this particular episode it is. And that is, you know, actually, it's just a generational thing. It's just, they're teenagers. And teenagers, regardless of whatever it is that you're going through, are just discombobulated. Well, they're dealing with a lot.
Yeah. You're just trying to figure it out.
Exactly. Life, your family, who you are, your identity. you know, their past experiences, you know what I mean? Figuring out the stress of school, your future, you know, stuff that may have happened to you, think some traumatic things that could have happened. I mean, there's so much.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those episodes where I probably would have to see it again. I'm not, but I probably would have to see it again in order to maybe get a better understanding of where they want me to think and where they kind of want me to go with it. Whereas the first special episode was a little bit more conversational, kind of like, we're going this. My path seemed a little bit more clear. It's like, you need to figure out how to be sober. Your sobriety is the number one important thing, and that was like the center of where we're heading. This episode seemed a lot just more abstract. It's like it's a little bit all over the place. And like I said, I will happily admit that maybe just my ignorance is not allowing me to see what is probably painfully obvious for a lot of the viewers, and be like, no, it's exactly this thing. So I have to just own up to that I just didn't get it.
Well, and like you said, and it's very true for me too, the music, I just, it was like almost like a lullaby. It was distracting. I almost felt like I wanted to go to sleep. I'm gonna be honest with you. And not because I wasn't interested in the story, but like you said, the music was just so distracting that I was like, why is this person singing so loudly? Why is this flute playing? Why do I feel like I'm at medieval times?
But see, I think that was the cultural disconnect for me. And I was like, okay, maybe if I wasn't who I am in my own space and I could understand the meaning behind like the music, but it just it
was a lot.
It just missed me. Yeah.
I know we're gonna probably wrap up soon, but one other thing I wanted to say: what did you think about the scene between Rue and Jules at the end, as far as like her saying, I'm sorry, I wish that you didn't come with me, or that whatever happened, and blah blah blah, and then Rue just being like, I don't know why I'm always so emotional that she left. Like, what did you think of that?
It was all over the place yet again. It's like somebody just took a bucket full of emotion and just threw it against the wall, and we're just trying to see what sticks. That's what that felt like. I didn't understand the why. In any of it. I guess the why, all that matters is that it is the holidays. This is the person that she loves, and she's just coming to see if she's all right. And then maybe they're just not ready to have this conversation right now in this space. But I just still want to see you anyways, and then I'm out. That's the only thing that I could think of.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so I was confused because I really did think it was the same day, because I swear that when she entered the room, she said I was riding my bike on my way to meet Ali. And I get the Merry Christmas, but people say Merry Christmas the whole month of December. You know what I mean? So I wasn't, the timing, I'm not really sure when she was there, right?
Well, but I think that timing is important too.
I do too. That's what I'm saying, because I need to know if it was before she met with Ali or after because if it's after, if it's the same day, because it looks like it's the middle of the night, right? It's still raining. So maybe if it's the same day and it's after she met with him, she was riding in the car with him in the rain. She was high.
Yeah.
So she's high, coming to see her to say, because maybe she heard she was back.
Right.
And so to me, if it's after, maybe she's like, okay, I can't deal with this. I need to focus on my sobriety, like we talked about with Ali, right? So that was my interpretation of her crying, because she still loves Jules.
Yeah.
But she's just like, okay, I need to focus on myself and not have this other addiction and, be sober. If it was before she met with Ali, well, then that makes sense. She had this traumatic, she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with all this. And she went and got high, and then she had this whole deep conversation with Ali.
Right.
So I need to know when it is, because that makes that more poignant.
I interpreted it as the first episode, the special episode, when she's meeting Ali, that is Christmas Eve. Because I thought that the conversation that Ali was having with his children was a Christmas Eve conversation.
It was.
Okay. And this episode is Christmas Day. But we also have to keep in mind that it could both be one and the same. It could be late night Christmas Eve. Okay. And then on her way home, it's crossed into Christmas. It's just really late at night. And then she's just saying this before she goes in and calls it for the night, So... yeah, but I do think the timing of that is pretty important.
It is.
But and there's also we're coming to realize, and somebody in the chat has brought this up as well, is that Rue is our narrator, but Rue is also an addict. Our narrator is an addict, and our narrator lies.
But she wasn't in this episode. In terms of narrating, yeah.
No, but as far as like the day, or even saying that she didn't see Ali, yeah, or vice versa. Maybe she lied to Ali and said that she hadn't already, seen Rue. Or, either or. Yeah, she's seen Jules.
Okay.
So that could be it as well.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was interesting. I mean, I'm glad we saw it, like I said, because it did clarify a couple things, made a couple things more confusing, but at least now, moving forward, we have more backstory.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a necessary episode. I just wasn't necessarily as over the moon, and I may have just missed the mark. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Like you said, moving forward, at least you know some things, and you could be like,
Yeah.
oh, I see why that happened because of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad about the
Yeah.
backstory because you definitely need to know about the mom.
Yeah.
Definitely, absolutely, and that relationship. So, hey, well, thank you so much. That was a lot to unpack.
It was.
And I am sure I have probably gotten wrong on a lot of stuff. Please be gentle in the comments and telling me where I may have gotten it right, maybe we've gotten it wrong, or
Your
vice
opinion.
versa.
Yeah,
our
or your opinion.
Yeah, and of course, as always,
Play nicely.
Be nice. Hey, I'm sitting there with the intel. I'm here with the incredible Mikel-Claire.
Ta-da!
And that officially concludes season 1. We're getting ready to fire up season 2 a little bit later. But we'll keep you posted. All right, give us those thumbs up, hit that subscription button. We out of here.